You can stand beside people who know your name and still feel like a stranger in your own life. That feeling does not always arrive as sadness. Sometimes it comes as irritation after a normal conversation, a heaviness after a night out, or the strange sense that you keep giving your time to rooms that do not require anything real from you. Nobody has to mistreat you for this to happen. A life can become too small simply because it stopped asking you to grow. You may still laugh, reply, show up, and play the part, but something underneath begins refusing the performance. That refusal matters. It is not arrogance. It is the first sign that your inner standard has outgrown the version of you that kept making everyone comfortable. A man should pay close attention when peace starts feeling impossible in places that once felt normal. The pain of changing begins before the results appear. That is what makes it so difficult. You feel the old life losing its grip, yet the new one has not rewarded you enough to prove the sacrifice was worth it. This is the lonely middle. People around you may not understand why your mood has changed, why your patience is thinner, why your appetite for pointless talk has dropped, why you seem more serious than before. They may think you are becoming distant. Maybe you are. Distance is not always betrayal. Sometimes it is the space required for honesty to survive. A man cannot hear his own direction if every spare hour is filled with other people's noise. At some point, he must choose whether he wants to be constantly understood by the crowd or finally understood by himself. Human beings are wired to treat belonging as safety. That old instinct still runs quietly beneath modern life. It is why a man can stay loyal to patterns that are ruining him, simply because leaving them feels like social danger. He knows he needs discipline, but he fears becoming the serious one. He knows his environment is weakening him, but he fears looking ungrateful. He knows the routine is dead, but it is familiar, and familiarity has a way of dressing itself up as peace. The nervous system would rather keep a predictable discomfort than step into an unknown demand. That is the trap. You mistake discomfort for danger when it may only be growth asking for room. Not every separation is loss. Some separations are surgery. Nietzsche's idea of becoming who you are sounds grand until it enters an ordinary Tuesday. Then it becomes less poetic. It becomes the decision not to check the phone before the work. It becomes admitting that the career path you copied from someone else does not fit. It becomes accepting that certain friends only knew the version of you who had no real standard. It becomes facing the ugly fact that some of your dreams were not yours at all. They were borrowed from status, fear, family pressure, envy, or the need to look impressive. A man cannot build a serious life from borrowed desire. He must ask a harder question. Which burden would I still carry if nobody praised me for carrying it? That answer usually points closer to purpose than any fantasy of applause ever will. Solitude is useful because it removes the easy exits. Without the crowd, you cannot hide inside social momentum. Without constant input, your own thoughts become louder. That can be uncomfortable. Because silence often reveals the mess you learn to step over. The body may show you neglect. The calendar may show you cowardice. The bank account may show you avoidance. The mind may show you how much of your energy has been spent rehearsing a future instead of building one. None of these discoveries are insults unless you are too proud to use them. They are coordinates. A weak man treats self-knowledge as shame and runs from it. A stronger man treats it as intelligence. He does not need the truth to be flattering. He needs it to be accurate. Finding purpose is not usually a lightning strike. That idea has made many people passive. They sit around waiting for a grand calling to descend on them while their days remain soft, distracted, and untested. Purpose often appears after contact with reality. You try difficult things, you enter arenas, you learn what gives you energy after the discomfort, not before it. A pursuit that only feels good in imagination is not enough. The real test is what still matters after boredom arrives. Training may not feel exciting every day, but the man who respects himself after keeping the standard should notice that. Building a skill may humiliate him at first, yet if the struggle makes his future feel larger, he should pay attention. Purpose is discovered less by thinking endlessly and more by observing which form of effort makes weakness feel unacceptable. Experimentation must be honest, or it becomes another escape. Trying many paths can be useful, but only if each attempt has enough seriousness to reveal something real. A week of casual effort tells you almost nothing. A month of disciplined contact tells you more. A season of measured work tells you even more. Do not jump from idea to idea simply because the first wave of resistance arrived. Resistance appears on every path worth taking. The question is not, is this easy? The question is, does this difficulty sharpen me? That is a cleaner test. Some struggles make a man smaller, others make him more awake, more useful, more disciplined, more capable. Once you find the kind of struggle that strengthens you, stop treating it like an option in a shop window. Take it seriously. Commitment begins when the man stops keeping backup identities alive for comfort. He cannot keep telling himself he could be a writer, fighter, entrepreneur, athlete, leader, artist, thinker, and builder, while giving none of those paths enough obedience to become real. A blade becomes dangerous because it narrows. A life becomes powerful the same way. Choose the thing that deserves your next season, then allow that choice to remove weaker uses of time. This will feel restrictive only to the part of you addicted to possibility without payment. The focused version of you does not need 10 imaginary futures. He needs one real direction receiving daily evidence. That is how purpose becomes visible, not through a speech. Through the calendar, through the body, through the work left behind after the day is finished. As your direction gets cleaner, some pleasures will start losing their innocence. A wasted night will not feel like harmless fun if it steals the morning you needed. A shallow friendship will not feel neutral if every meeting pulls you back into an older version of yourself. Cheap stimulation will not feel like rest if it leaves the mind foggier than before. This does not mean becoming bitter or dramatic. Quiet change is stronger. Reduce what weakens you. Repeat what strengthens you. Stop explaining every adjustment to people who are committed to misunderstanding it. A man does not need to hold a press conference every time his standards rise. Let behavior speak, let absence speak, let completed work speak. The new life should enter so steadily that the old one simply loses access.
Every major religious founder began their mission only after an extended period of solitude in the wilderness. And this is not coincidence but pattern. One that the historian Karen Armstrong traced across cultures and centuries until it became undeniable. The same sequence repeating in tradition after tradition, the withdrawal preceding the transformation. Moses in the desert, Jesus in the wilderness, Muhammad in the cave, Buddha beneath the tree in the forest. Each of them separated from society before they returned with something that would reshape the world, and the consistency of this across completely different cultures and eras points to something fundamental about how deep transformation actually happens. It required separation every time, the deliberate removal from the tribe before the emergence of the new self and the new message. The pattern is too consistent to dismiss, appearing wherever profound transformation occurred, and it carries a lesson that applies far beyond religion to any man seeking to become fundamentally more than he currently is. The signal cannot come through while the noise of the tribe is still in your ears, which is the deep reason behind the pattern, because transformation requires hearing something new, something beyond the constant chatter of the group, and that new signal is inaudible beneath the noise of everyone else's voices and expectations and opinions. The tribe is always speaking, always telling you who you are and what to want and how to think, and its voice is so constant and so loud that it drowns out the deeper signal that transformation requires, the quiet inner voice that can only be heard in solitude. This is why the founders had to withdraw, because the message they would eventually bring could not reach them while they remained immersed in the noise of their societies, and only in the silence of the wilderness could the signal finally break through. What this means for you is that your own transformation, the emergence of who you could become, may be blocked by nothing more than the constant noise of your tribe, the voices that never fall silent long enough for your own deeper signal to reach you. Separation from the tribe is threatening precisely because the tribe shapes your identity, and to withdraw from it is to risk losing the self that the group constructed and maintained, which is exactly why transformation requires it, because the old self must be dismantled before the new one can form. As long as you remain embedded in the group, you remain the person the group knows you to be, held in place by its expectations and its constant reinforcement of your existing identity, unable to become someone new because everyone around you keeps confirming who you already are. The wilderness breaks this, removing the social scaffolding that holds your old self together, creating the space in which a new self can emerge free from the group's insistence on the old one. This is why the withdrawal is not incidental but essential, because the transformation cannot happen within the very social context that maintains the identity being transformed, and only by separating from the tribe can you escape its grip on who you are long enough to become someone else. The wilderness strips away the distractions and comforts that keep you from confronting yourself, forcing an encounter with your own depths that the busy social world allows you to avoid indefinitely, and this confrontation is where transformation begins. In the noise and comfort of ordinary life, you never have to face yourself directly, because there is always another distraction, another obligation, another voice to attend to. But the wilderness removes all of it, leaving you alone with your own mind and no escape from the encounter. This is uncomfortable, even terrifying, which is why people avoid solitude so assiduously. But it is precisely this confrontation with the self that the transformation requires, the honest meeting with your own depths that only solitude permits. Why this matters is that you cannot transform what you will not face, and you will not face yourself as long as the tribe's noise gives you endless means of avoidance. So the withdrawal into solitude is not merely helpful but necessary, the only condition under which the confrontation that precedes transformation can actually occur. The modern world has made this kind of separation harder than ever, because the noise of the tribe now follows you everywhere through the device in your pocket, meaning you are never actually alone, never free of the group's voices, never in the wilderness that transformation requires. The founders could walk into a literal desert and find genuine silence, but you carry the entire tribe with you at all times. Its chatter piped directly into your consciousness through screens that never stop delivering the opinions and expectations and noise of everyone, so that even when you are physically alone, you are not truly separated. This is why transformation may be harder to achieve now than in any previous age, because the condition it requires, genuine separation from the tribe's noise, has become nearly impossible to attain amid the constant connectivity of modern life. What this demands of you is a deliberate and difficult withdrawal, an intentional separation from the digital tribe that follows you everywhere, because the silence that transformation requires will not come on its own and must be actively created against a world designed to prevent it.
A boy does not become a man because time passes. That is the lie modern life quietly sells. 18 arrives, then 21, then 30, and everyone pretends the body changing shape means the spirit crossed some invisible line. It did not. A man can grow facial hair, pay bills, hold a job, drive a car, sleep beside a woman, and still remain internally uninitiated, still waiting for permission, still reacting like a child when comfort is threatened, still needing applause before effort, still needing the group before direction. Adulthood used to require a crossing. Something had to be faced alone. Hunger, fear, silence, weather, darkness, pain, distance, responsibility, the absence of rescue. The point was not cruelty. The point was separation from boyhood. A young man had to meet himself without the tribe carrying him. Today the threshold has vanished, and because nobody sends him into the wilderness anymore, he stays near the fire, entertained, protected, distracted, and unfinished. The missing initiation shows itself in ordinary ways. A man cannot sit alone without reaching for the phone. He cannot make a decision without asking 5 people what they think. He cannot handle rejection without collapsing into resentment. He cannot be bored without escaping into stimulation. He cannot lose comfort for a season without calling it unhealthy. He says he wants purpose, but he keeps waiting for life to hand him a ceremony, a sign, a mentor, a perfect moment, a clear path with no teeth. That is the problem. Modern society gives men endless information and almost no crossing. It gives them content about discipline without demanding discipline. It gives them language about identity without forcing identity to be tested. It gives them comfort before character is formed. A man can now avoid every ancient pressure that would have shaped him, then wonder why his mind feels foggy, weak, and hungry for something he cannot name. Those old trials carried a message that modern life has forgotten. Nobody can become you on your behalf. The group may raise you, teach you, feed you, protect you, and give you a name, but a moment arrives when you must step beyond inherited safety and find out what remains when the noise is gone. That was the function of the wilderness. It stripped away performance. No audience, no mother to soften the blow, no father to make the decision, no friends to laugh with, no crowd to confirm your identity. Just the young man, the land, the fear, the hunger, the sky, and the truth of whether he could remain steady when nothing familiar answered back. The outer journey forced an inner confrontation. If he returned, he did not return merely older. He returned with evidence. Evidence that he could endure. Evidence that he could listen. Evidence that he could meet danger without becoming a child again. Modern comfort has replaced the wilderness with simulation. A man feels fear through films, victory through games, status through social media, romance through screens, danger through stories, and purpose through other people's achievements. His nervous system receives flashes of intensity while his actual life remains almost untouched. This is a quiet disaster because the body begins believing it has lived more than it has. It has watched battles without entering one. It has consumed wisdom without being changed by it. It has felt ambition without obeying it. The ancient initiation forced experience to become real. Modern life allows experience to stay symbolic. That is why so many men feel full of ideas and empty of proof. They have seen too much and done too little. The mind is crowded, but the character is underbuilt. A real crossing begins when a man stops treating loneliness as something to escape and starts treating it as a training ground. Not isolation for the sake of bitterness, not disappearing because he hates people. A deliberate withdrawal from noise so he can hear the orders his life has been trying to give him. Walk without music, sit without a screen, train without needing witnesses, work without announcing the plan. Spend time away from people who only recognize the version of you that does not threaten them. At first, this will not feel noble. It will feel irritating, heavy, maybe even embarrassing. Good. The first layer of silence usually reveals addiction to stimulation. The next layer reveals unfinished business. Stay long enough and the deeper material appears. The fear you keep avoiding, the purpose you keep postponing, the old weakness that still expects to rule. The initiation cannot be copied perfectly from another culture, and it should not be treated like a costume. The point is not to borrow rituals for decoration. The point is to understand the human need underneath them. A man requires a chosen ordeal that separates him from the child he has been protecting. That ordeal must be real enough to cost something. A weekend alone with no phone, no entertainment, long walks, cold reflection, and a notebook may be a beginning for one man. For another, it may be 90 days of training, saving, silence, study, and total removal of cheap pleasure. Someone else may need to leave a dead environment, confront a family pattern, rebuild his body, stop drinking, finish a project, or build a skill until it can feed him. The form can vary. The requirement cannot. Something must test your word. The wrong question is, what do I feel like doing? That question belongs to the uninitiated mind because it keeps emotion in command. A better question cuts deeper. What ordeal would force me to respect myself if I completed it? That question reveals the missing gate. If your body has become proof of neglect, the ordeal may be physical. When your money is chaos, the ordeal may be financial discipline and skill building, until dependence loses its grip. If your mind is scattered, the ordeal may be silence, reading, writing, and protected focus until attention becomes yours again. A man with no direction may need a season of experiments, not endless thinking, to discover which struggle gives him dignity after the discomfort passes. Purpose often hides behind the burden you keep avoiding, because that burden knows exactly where your strength is missing. A self-made initiation needs rules, or it becomes another fantasy. Choose a time frame, choose the standard, remove the obvious escapes, track the evidence, tell as few people as possible, because premature attention weakens private force. During this season, the old self must lose privileges. No endless scrolling when discomfort appears. No weak food if the body is the battlefield. No spending for emotional relief if money is the target. No music-fueled fantasy replacing work. No returning to the same conversations that keep you small. The rules are not there to make life miserable. They are there to create a container strong enough for transformation. A boy negotiates with every urge. A man builds laws and then lets those laws reshape him. A strange thing happens When a man willingly enters difficulty instead of waiting for life to ambush him, fear loses some of its authority. He discovers that discomfort rises, shouts, and eventually passes. He learns that boredom does not kill him, hunger does not own him, silence does not destroy him, rejection does not erase him. Hard work does not require perfect emotion. The body begins trusting command again, because command keeps showing up. This is the real return from the wilderness, not a dramatic personality change, a quieter one, less neediness, less panic, less dependence on the crowd, more ability to act when nobody is watching, more calm under pressure, more disgust for old excuses. The man who has tested himself carries a different weight because he has private evidence no one can give or take. The danger is thinking you can remain untested and still become whole. You cannot. Comfort does not finish a man. Opinions do not finish him. Age does not finish him. A job title does not finish him. Being desired does not finish him. Only confrontation does. Confrontation with weakness, fear, appetite, silence, discipline, work, truth, and responsibility. Without that crossing, a man keeps waiting, waiting to feel ready, waiting to feel chosen, waiting for the right environment, waiting for someone to tell him he has become what he hoped he would become. That message may never come. Modern society may keep you entertained until the grave, if you allow it. Nobody is coming to send you out. Nobody is coming to declare the start of your trial. The gate is invisible now, so you must build it yourself.